Hey guys, welcome back to the Star Wars Weekly Podcast. This episode, we're going to be looking at Book of Boba Fett, Episode 7, the finale, In the Name of Honor. So we're gonna do things a little bit differently this episode. It's the finale of the show, and I kind of just want to talk about our expectations for the Book of Boba Fett going in. I mean, it's just like the sequel trilogy, where expectations were really high, right? We're getting a new sequel trilogy. Like, are the old cast gonna return? Like, what's the story gonna be? How close is it going to be to, Legends material? Same thing with Boba Fett, right? He's a legendary character. The fans love him. He was badass in the comics. Didn't do much in the movies, but he was still really cool. So, I don't know. My expectations were really high going into the Book of Boba Fett. And I can't help but feel disappointed by the series. I
think what everyone expected, and including me, I think we all expected a bounty hunter show, right? Like a show, like, because I know since before this show was even announced, like, we used to talk about, like, I want to see a show focused on Boba Fett and the bounty hunters going on bounties, like, together, or, opposing each other, like fighting over bounties, stuff like that, like following the bounty hunters in that way. I think we've all wanted that for a long time. I think we wanted this for the Boba show, but I think from the beginning of the beginning of the show, we kind of knew
exactly. We knew it wasn't going to be a bounty hunter show from the first episode, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. Like, if they want to take it in a different direction, I'm cool with that. But I think the problem is they just didn't stick to the character of Boba Fett. So I think Robert Rodriguez and Rian Johnson are now in the same category. Like, Luke Skywalker and Boba Fett were both done dirty, I think. Both characters, we know who they are. We've seen their character development. We've seen their arc. And I just feel like for both of them, it didn't hit properly. And we can go into that deeper later. And I'm not going to say that there weren't any good moments in the show, because I do think that there were a lot of great moments throughout all of the episodes, even excluding the ones with The Mandalorian, episodes 5 and 6. But there were a lot of moments in the show that I did enjoy, and I will agree with you there. Now, sorry, one thing that really bothers me is, we with the sequels, we have, the fandom's kind of divided. We have half of the fans love it, the other half of the fans don't. And, like, I'm not the type of fan that goes in... Like, I love Star Wars, and I don't go in, like, looking to nitpick everything. Like, I go in wanting to love it. And I will sit there, and I'll watch it, and I'll think about it. And then when I come out of it, I'll make a decision whether I liked it or not.
No, I think we all go in... Like, if you're a Star Wars fan who enjoys Star Wars, I don't think you ever go into something expecting to hate it. Because if you're going to expect to hate it, why even watch it? Yeah. Why even start it?
And we keep getting, like, fans and non-fans, whatever, they keep saying, nothing satisfies the fans. And I just don't think that is a true statement. Because, like... we want to be satisfied. Like, it's not that we're not trying to get into it. It's just like some things don't hit, And when they don't hit, like, to say that we should just be grateful that we're getting anything at all, I feel isn't valid either, because, like, we have to be able to critique something. Like, I get it. Star Wars isn't going to be perfect 100% of the time. Maybe not even 75% of the time. But, like, with characters like Luke and Boba Fett, who have such a deep history and who we know so well at this point, after all of these years of reading, like, material, watching them in animation or live action or whatever it might be, like, I would rather have something good than, like, I would rather not get anything at all than have something mediocre, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, that makes sense. So I do want, I understand, and I totally agree. I want to understand more about, like, what, okay, because to me, in my opinion, I really enjoyed it, and it's fine. Like,
that's totally fine.
You can, like, if you have your gripes with it, I respect it. I want to hear it out. I want to understand it. But like the way I went into it, and watching it, and even with this finale, like for me personally, my biggest gripe with it was, like, I want to see Boba be Boba.
Yeah.
Right. And I think we talked about it a lot on the podcast. It's like, we were just waiting to see Boba be Boba, and I feel like, to me personally, like, we got it in the finale. Like, we finally saw him go all out. He literally uses his entire arsenal: the wrist rocket, the jetpack, the rocket in the jetpack, the knee blasters, his sidearm. We see him go through all of it. And personally, like, I thought the fight scenes were awesome. I don't know if you guys enjoyed the fight scenes as much, but, like, I thought they were really cool. So, like, to me, like, the finale kind of redeems us, like, not getting that throughout the show. We got, like, little bits here and there, when he gets the Slave One back, and, like, stuff like that. But, we didn't get a whole lot of it.
I'm super happy that you loved the series, like, and for everyone who loved Book of Boba, like, I'm happy for you. There were great moments. There were great moments in the finale too. I just think that we shouldn't have had to wait all the way to the finale to be able to see some of that, because, I mean, even for, like, we're gonna watch it anyways, whether it's bad or good, just because we're Star Wars fans and because we like Boba Fett. But other people that I've talked to that aren't, like, really big Star Wars fans and just watch it to watch it, they're getting bored, like, within the first 2 episodes, because, they're expecting Boba Fett. They know he looks cool in the original trilogy, and, I mean, they don't know who Cad Bane is. They have no idea who Cad Bane is. Like, I had one friend who was like, was I supposed to know who that was? Because it seemed like a big deal, but I'm totally clueless because I've never seen Clone Wars. And I'm like, oh yeah, he's a big deal. Oh, yeah. But yeah, like, they want to see Boba Fett do something cool. And to wait till the finale, like, if this was not a Star Wars show, like, that would be a drag. So yeah,
no,
I mean, he did cool stuff. I'll give it that.
I agree with, like, the show was paced pretty slow, but the way I'm, like, thinking about it, it's like, first of all, I don't think this is gonna be the only season.
No,
unless
definitely not.
Unless because of how, like, it's being received, they're like, maybe not. But, like, if that doesn't come
he
into
will be back.
Then
he'll be back in Mandalorian, or he'll be back in his own show.
Yeah,
either one. But
we'll see him.
Yeah, again. We're definitely not gonna not see him again.
Yeah, but, like, thinking about it, like, I fully expect to see another season of Book of Boba Fett, right?
Yeah.
So personally, like, the way I see the show is like it's building all this up, and it's kind of like an in between, like I feel like this show was just kind of like a cherry on top that we got in between Mando seasons, because if you really look at it, it's like it's incorporating all these new shows that we're going to be getting. It's got Mando, it's got it's now tied in with the new Ahsoka show that we're getting, and it's literally, the end scene in the finale. It's pretty much saying like, okay, time for Mando.
Yeah, I think the plot was bad. I think the plot could have been done a lot better. They didn't set up a good villain with the Pikes. They added Cad Bane way too late. And then everything that happened in the finale should have happened sooner. And then there should have been a big villain such as Kira at the end.
No, I think that's what we were literally just talking about. Is I feel like they needed like just one more thing to make it like, oh damn, like Bosk, or like just another one of the bounty hunters on the opposing side. I feel like even just that would have made it even bigger, even like crazier.
I also have to say, I think Mando shouldn't have been in this at all. Like, episode 5 and 6, loved them. They just didn't belong here because it took away from.
So I don't think Mando shouldn't have been in it. I still think he could have been a hired gun, but they shouldn't have gone on Mando's side quest.
Okay,
for 2 episodes.
I would have been down. I would be down with that. We'll get back to this towards the end because there's one more thing I want to talk about regarding this. But let's dive into the episode first, and we'll see. Like, I'll explain more in depth what I mean.
Okay. Yeah, please.
So we have the first scene, right? Mando tells Fennec and Boba that Cobb Vanth is going to help if Spice is outlawed on Tatooine, right? So then Fennec goes and states that, Spice was most of Jabba the Hutt's business on Tatooine, indicating that Boba Fett and Fennec want to control, the spice trade on Tatooine. So they're not these like angels from above for the people of Tatooine, right? They're basically wanting to control spice on Tatooine and make that money for themselves. And so Mando's just like, Cobb will help if it's outlawed. And then Boba's just like, you know what? I'll take it. We won't do spice anymore. We'll find other ways to make money. I'll back down from this. Whatever. We need his help because I have no friends, apparently.
Yeah.
No bounty hunter friends after all these years.
Yep.
So it's just like, what is Boba Fett's motive here? That's like throughout the entire show, he wants to be this crime lord and replace Jabba the Hutt. He wants to rule with respect. But like, what is his overall motive besides just sitting on a throne controlling Tatooine and not having to risk his life anymore? Because he's still risking his life doing this.
His motive, for some reason, at least to me, I mean, we just talked about this, is he wants to change careers. He doesn't want to do the bounty hunting profession anymore, and he wants to just be a good leader. And to be a good leader, you have to look out for the people that are underneath you, which are like the citizens of the town. But that whole character shift just seems out of left field to me.
It doesn't feel in character for Boba. Like, I get wanting to protect the Tusken family because they rescued him after, what he went through. But like the sudden need to protect the people of Mos Espa?
Honestly, that's probably where it came from, is because he went through this traumatic experience of almost dying, and then these people take him in and they treat him like family, and he's learning what family is. But exactly. But it's just like, I didn't have enough time either, because like they killed off all the Tuskens within 2 episodes.
Yeah,
I would have. You know how much cooler it would have been to have the Tuskens instead of the people of Freetown help liberate Mos Espa from the Pikes, and then to have that dynamic between the people of Mos Espa and the Tuskens, because the Tuskens are feared. Like, that would have been really cool to see.
I think
I agree
it
with
was
that.
definitely I think it was a missed opportunity killing the Tuskens. Even having like just the warrior and maybe the kid survive.
Just a few of them,
and having them come with like a different tribe and help Boba. Like, I think even that would have been amazing. I definitely agree that it was definitely a missed opportunity.
Right. Another problem I have with it is when they're in the cantina, in the wreckage of the cantina, the Power Rangers straight up, like, he says, let's go defend the palace, let's hold up there, like, we got some good protection there. And the Power Rangers are just like, nah, we'd rather hold at the cantina, protect them here. And he just like, oh, okay. Like, Boba Fett is saying to a bunch of street kids, okay, I like your idea. Like, I'm going to do that instead. Like, this is Boba Fett. Like,
if Boba would have gone back to the palace, then he just handed the city over to the Pikes, and he never would have had the respect
I totally
that
get
we
that.
see him get.
I just hate that
it
it wasn't Boba Fett that came up with that idea instead of the street kids. Like, it's Boba Fett. Like, dude, like, how has he survived this long as, like, the most notorious bounty hunter besides Cad Bane, if he can't even come up with any plan by himself? It's usually Fennec or one of the other people, like, telling him, like, hey, this is what you
think about it.
Do.
Think about it. The strategic thing was to go back to the palace. Thinking like a bounty hunter, thinking about strategy, thinking about, okay, how am I going to survive and win this? And have the best shot at winning this, thinking like a bounty hunter, was going back to the palace. And that's how he was thinking. We're still seeing him transition from bounty hunter mindset,
like, I'm on my own.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
I just feel like we shouldn't have to wait for the finale to see that, though. Like, I feel like that should have happened in the middle of the show, and then by the end of the show, he's like, okay, like, these are my people, kind of thing. Yeah, I just don't think the Pikes are great villains. I just feel like, we had no interest in their motive at all. I know that, they just wanted the spice to run through Tatooine. But, like, as far as, like, an overarching villain like Darth Vader or, like, Cad Bane or, something like that, it just felt kind of empty. And Cad Bane was added so late. He was a great addition to the show. Like, he really added that dynamic that we needed in a villain to the Book of Boba Fett. It just was a bummer that he was introduced so late. Then, Fett has his little band of, like, 3 people in each district. And we find out, the crime lords turn on Fett. Chrysanthemum gets jumped. The Power Rangers are, like, cornered. And then, we see our 2 favorite Gamorreans fly off a cliff going, like, man, I laughed because it was just funny. But I was kind of sad to see those 2 go. Those are I really liked them. I don't know, but yeah, it was. I mean, it's the whole crime lord thing. They always stabbing each other in the back. It's expected in every crime type show. Then we have the big battle. It was long. This was a long battle. There were some.
It was the finale, though. Like,
yes,
it should have been long.
I
That's
get
what we've
that,
been waiting for.
But I couldn't help but feel bored in some scenes, and I couldn't help but feel like a few of them were cheesy. My wife was watching it with me, and she was like, "This is very Spy Kids," and I was like, "Oh, Robert Rodriguez directed it, actually," and she's like, "Oh, makes sense."
No, it had some weird moments.
The fucking scorpion, I don't remember what they're
Scorpion
called.
droideka things.
Yeah.
Before we get to there, there was a really cool scene that I really liked. The very first like action-packed scene with Boba and Din flying out in their jetpacks. That was awesome. That is what we wanted to see from the very beginning. And then Boba and Din are like pinned. They're getting all shot up, and somehow all the bullets are missing their soft parts. They don't even get shot once. And then, you know, there's a slow-mo shot again with the Freetown folk like drifting around a corner, and they get saved. Like, it's a little cliche.
Can we talk about this when Boba was telling Fennec to go to help somebody on the other side of town? She hops on the scooter, and the scooter goes like off really fast as fuck.
Super
Like,
fast.
where was that?
Well, that was
where was
wasn't
that?
a moped.
That wasn't the moped. That wasn't one of the mopeds.
It was a different.
It was a
Are
regular
you sure
speeder.
about that? It looked like
I'm 100% positive.
Yeah.
Insert the clip now.
Yeah. No, yeah, it was a regular speeder.
okay.
And hey,
I thought she hopped
manners,
on one of the bikes.
Manners, guys.
No, that would have been hilarious.
Manners.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I like that.
That was
God,
so cringe, man.
I'm with you on that one.
That was the worst
No,
Fennec
weird.
quote ever. But anyways, the Power Rangers, they're just so out of place. The viewer feels nothing for them. Like, just make them bantha fodder. Like, just...
At least they dwindled their numbers.
So yeah, I mean, I love the back to tank references in this episode. I mean, Boba and his damn back to tank, I swear.
He's like a dad with like whenever they get like a, they're like, oh, you have to try my house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He's like,
It's like
Chrysanthemum, you can have some time in my back to tank when we get back to the
and they're like,
palace.
okay. No, yeah, that was funny.
I have in my notes here, again, probably for the 4th or 5th time, I cared so little about this fight that I actually got bored. Anyways, the giant droidicas made it even more unbearable and drawn out. I mean, it really shows the lack of a good villain here. Like, okay, sure, you want to add giant droidicas? Cool, give me 10 minutes of giant droidicas. Not 30 freaking minutes of droidicas. That's
Okay.
Can we talk about that spin by the Power Ranger?
Oh no!
I'll give you that one.
I am
That was
100%
not-
against
that
that.
was not
We
it.
should start a petition.
Do you know what I'm talking
for
about,
sure.
Taylor?
Mm-mm.
Where they're helping Chrysanthemum.
The guy with like the eyepiece.
It's
See,
Cyberpunk girl
like,
and then the
stops,
eyepiece guy. He like
spins.
carried Chrysanthemum and then he just does a spin for
He
no
sees
reason
this-
to
yeah.
shoot the pikes.
He
And I
sees
was
the
like,
pikes come and he let me remove.
Like a 360 spin,
Yeah.
not like he was turned and then he spun around.
By the way, Boba left a while ago because he didn't have a plan. He just kind of ditched Din when they're dealing with the droidicas. But he came up with a plan on the fly. He brought the Rancor, right?
he was like, "I'll be right back," and I was just like, "Surely he's gonna go round up Bosk and like the other bounty hunters."
I thought since Fennec went to Mos Eisley that maybe she'd see Bosk at
Yeah.
like the cantina and be like, "Let's go," you know? Like,
I need you.
No,
Last minute.
I do know he was going for the Rancor. I expected it because they planted that seed early on.
Yeah.
But
Which
yeah,
where
that-
the fuck is Danny Trejo? Was he just too expensive?
the
Was he
same
too
thing.
expensive of an actor that they could only afford like 2 scenes with him?
why didn't they just have Danny Trejo ride the Rancor into battle while Boba Fett's flying around? I don't know.
that's so cute. Yeah, that could also. But I mean, I'd rather see Boba.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. So we get to see Boba riding the Rancor. That was cool. That was really cool.
I love that.
I wanted to
yeah.
see him ride it in the finale, but I also wanted to see him ride it a lot earlier. Like, it took just way
Yeah.
too long. Like I said, this episode I feel like should have been in the middle of the show, and then there should have been a greater villain at the end.
Yeah, I feel like it would have been cool to see like this battle, but them lose it, like
Yeah.
lose the battle, and then in the finale, there was like, they came back stronger,
yeah.
Yeah, with
The
more
real
bounty
villain
hunters
is
or whatever. I
revealed.
don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just felt like the Droidica sequence was just a little bit too long. There were a lot of like editing glitches too. I don't know if you guys saw those. People were making them on TikTok. Like where the Rancor would rip off a a gun off one of the droidicas, and then in the next scene the gun would still be there, and then he'd rip it off, and then it'd be there again, and then he'd like stab it. He'd like rip it off again, and then stab it. It was. There was just a few editing.
I'll have to look at it again.
Issues. Not a big deal, but it's like that whole Praetorian Guard scene in Last Jedi, where it's just like, what? Yeah, Cad Bane and Boba Fett. They finally get another standoff. They get an actual showdown. And Cad Bane's just like, again, he's thinking what we're thinking. He's like, Boba, what's your angle? Like, what are you doing here? Like, I don't get it. And Cad just straight up owns Boba. He just straight up like draws faster than
His
Boba.
ass.
Puts Boba right on his ass. Flat on his
Claps
ass.
his cheeks, dude.
Yeah.
And, you know, for whatever reason, Boba really likes Mos Espa. It's his city. He goes on about it. And, you know, then Cad Bane, you know, typical monologue, like before he kills him. This is your final lesson. And then my boy Cad Bane gets hit with a gaffy stick. And Boba just, you know, stabs Cad. Which was pretty predictable with how much Cad Bane was taunting him about his Tusken family the whole time. But
Right.
Yeah.
but man, I'm actually really pissed off that they killed Cad Bane, because I feel like he was the only good villain on the show, and they brought him in way too late.
Yeah, they gave him like
We finally
a scene, like two or three scenes.
2 episodes. And he gets like a couple minutes. They finally bring him into live action, and they kill him off immediately. And he was like the coolest part about the whole show. But I did notice on my second watch, when Boba's walking away from Cad Bane, the camera pans above Cad, and we see his chest piece start to blink, and then you hear a ticking or like beeping noise.
Like beep. I heard some. I saw someone was talking about that.
So
but I need to rewatch it.
I don't think.
You think he's alive?
I think he's alive. I don't think that they would show that with the whole beeping and like.
Of course not.
Whatever if he died. So who knows? He might turn up as a mod later.
This could be a moment of like how they kind of like just sprinkled in that, you know, in Mando season 1 when we see Boba walk up to Fennec and it's just like a quick like, oh, who is it? It could be like something like that where Cad's actually alive.
I mean, if Fennec's alive, then he could be alive.
Yeah, Fennec got like blasted.
Exactly.
Her freaking insides melted.
She lost all of her organs.
She laid
still
there
alive.
for how long?
So.
And Cad has like,
overnight.
the oxygen tubes
Again,
or whatever. Maybe that's
I've said it before. If Maul can survive, anyone can survive.
Yeah, exactly. Like
right. Rancor Rampage. So after Cad Bane puts fire in the Rancor's mouth, Rancor runs away, and where's Boba Fett this whole time? After he kills Cad, does he just like sit down and cry and hold Cad's hat or something? Like, why doesn't he get on his jetpack and like that scene
like,
wasn't very long. Like he could have just hopped back on the Rancor, you know? But we get to see something cool. We get to see Grogu use the Force on the Rancor to make it fall asleep. Kind of makes you wonder why Luke didn't do that in Return of the Jedi, but
he didn't know.
He still wasn't a fully formed, you know, he still hadn't gone back to Yoda.
Can we talk about the Rancor getting a hold of Mando and like biting his helmet?
He throttled
like,
him. My God, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Teething.
Which like he picks up a pike earlier and just completely shoves him down his throat, whereas Boba, he's just like
and then he yeets Din right after that.
The scene where he just like does this shit to him on the building. Oh my God.
Yeah, I thought
that he messed up
Din.
No, yeah.
And I had another thing during that whole like chase sequence and the Rancors going loose. The reuniting moment for Mando and Grogu was just so like an afterthought to me. It didn't seem like as dramatic as it could be and as fulfilling as it could be.
You know, I didn't even think about that. I agree. I totally
He just like
agree
hops
with
on the cart, and then he's like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" And then they hug each other, and then they just continue on their journey.
I would have liked a heartfelt moment between them two.
Here's my overall opinion about the show. It's hard to take a character that we are not supposed to love and relate to, and someone that we already know so much about, like just with the canon and the lore. It's hard to make a show about that character. And I think that's why they were kind of doomed to fail from the start, because we already know the Boba Fett that we know, and they have to try to make him relatable to a wider audience, and that destroyed his character for me. In the same way, it's like they did that with the Solo movie too, which, I don't know, I kind of liked the Solo movie, but we didn't ask for it. We already know Han Solo.
I'm the same way. Like, imagine Book of Boba Fett without episodes 5 and 6. Mando straight up stole the show. Boba should have been the Mandalorian. If they wanted this whole redemption arc for Boba Fett should have been the Mandalorian. Take Din Djarin out of the picture for a second and put Boba Fett's character in his place. Imagine Boba gets hired for a job to go get the child, and then Boba goes through that whole journey instead of Din.
I would have liked that, honestly.
That's who we wanted. That's what we wanted to see, though.
Yeah.
Like with a Boba Fett character. And yeah, I love Din. I'm happy we have Din now, and all of this. But like, I don't know. That's who we wanted to see with a Boba Fett.
Din pretty much has the story arc that Boba did in the comics and in the EU, like in Legends, And it is kind of like, I don't know, I have really mixed feelings about it because I love Din. I love The Mandalorian. It's amazing, amazing show. And I can't wait to see what happens with his character, him becoming Mandalore. I mean, that's not concrete, but like, I hope. But it's like, it's pretty much his story.
Yeah, I get why they had to do something different with Boba, because they already did the whole Din Djarin thing.
Think about, I talked about, we already know so much about Boba, but it's like, we don't know, Mando is a new character, and Grogu is a new character, someone we don't know anything about, and I think that's why it's so easy to watch, is because it's like, oh, we don't know what's going to happen next.
We have no expectations for Din Djarin. We have expectations for Boba Fett. Let's talk about the ending of the show. Yeah, we get to see Fennec be a badass again and do the work Boba Fett should have been doing earlier in the show. She executed the mayor. Like, she straight up hung him. That was crazy. And then she killed the Pikes and all the crime lords. Like, that was insane. Like, Fennec is so cool. Then it cuts to Boba and Fennec walking through Mos Espa, and Boba's like bowing to the citizens. Like, what is this? Like, I don't know. And then they're talking about the back to tank again. And then what you were saying, Boba Fett says, we're not suited for this, ruling the town. Like, all of that, and they're suddenly not interested in ruling Tatooine anymore. Like, what?
I don't think that's what he was saying.
Just like, I think he doesn't feel.
I think there's doubt with anyone in a position of with responsibility.
It's like imposter syndrome.
Well, but you know what I mean? Like, even Luke Skywalker had doubt. Even in Legends, he had doubt of how am I going to do this? Am I really,
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't do it. He F's up. So Mando and Grogu take off in the Naboo starfighter. They have a cute scene where they fly super fast. I love that scene. That was really cool.
No.
I love how he got aggressive at the end.
Yeah. But and then the end credits scene. Cobb Vanth is in Boba's hot tub. In the back of the tank. We expected him to live. We called it last week. But I think he's going to be the White Ranger or something. He's going to get modded, and he's going to be the leader of the Power Rangers of Tatooine. It was nice to get the confirmation that Cobb's alive. It wasn't the most amazing end credit scene. Yep. It wasn't like Mando end credit scene where we see Boba kill Bib and stuff. But
Yeah, it was kind of meh. Like, it's like, okay, I kind of knew he was alive.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
in other news, Disney's covering their Book of Boba failure with the announcement of Obi-Wan Kenobi streaming on May 25. So, stay subscribed because we're going to be doing weekly episodes from now all the way till Obi-Wan Kenobi show. And then we'll be covering that. And then I'll, give you we'll give you our feedback on that. But I bet you it's going to be a banger. It's going to be a banger.
That I can already tell is going to be like a love letter to Star Wars, honestly.
Yeah. Thanks, guys, for watching this week's episode of the Star Wars Weekly Podcast. We'll catch you next week where we do the roast of Boba Fett.
Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed that latest episode of our podcast. I just wanted to come on here because we are sponsoring today's episode with our brand Punch It Chewie Press. So we make Star Wars inspired fan art and we have a lot of stuff inspired by the Book of Boba Fett. Here are a few of our more relevant designs and you can use the code Star Wars Weekly for 10% off your purchase. The link is in our bio. Thanks!